Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star based on novel. So let's start. The impact of the force created a deep ditch that went straight down. However, its diameter was only that small. The large amount of treasures couldn't possibly fall down straight into it. Hence, it was like broken glass clanging against the sides. All sorts of items fell and bounced from side to side. What a mess. However, Purple Clock's eyes gleamed with excitement. Even if a normal person seeing a large amount of cash fluttering around in the streets, covering the entire street, even though it may be messy, he would still be excited. It's all mine. Ha ha ha. I'll buy 2 more Flame God crystals later on. And I'll buy a slot to study the Flame Clock God Mountain, and large amounts of recovery treasures, also. He rushed downwards and swiftly collected the falling items, excitedly planning his next steps. All sorts of treasures were thrown around. Like the purple clock, it was something even knights would value. The Showu wings, it would even make knights go crazy for. Or something even higher, that universe masters would use. And all sorts of things like the general armor, or other things. In all, it couldn't be counted. Treasures were needed for exploring dangerous regions, and needed for battles. One had to buy some in bulk. Ha ha ha, this is thrilling, thrilling. Too thrilling. Purple Clock rushed down and collected whatever he found. The Showu wings continued to fall, and beside it was the chest and the large amount of treasures. I actually get to collect so much too, ha ha. A metal fragment floating beside the wings fell with it. It was AG-grade metal transformed by the Mosha clansman. Of course, it only copied its energy sense, as it was still soft and energy-based. The Mosha body was unable to completely turn itself into AG-grade metal. The wings disappeared and was kept in the internal world. The world ring was then kept with the Mosha metal fragment, as it was impossible to scan within the tower. With energy ripples continuously spreading around from the blast, Purple Clock had no way to discover this from above. This chest is mine too. The chest bounded by 12 chains connected to that metal fragment, it suddenly vanished. Gold Kang's Thunder Pike. Hee, it's actually undamaged, it's mine now. What is this? Space ring. World ring. Looks like it's from Gold Kang's broken world ring. There are other rings inside, I'll take them all. Hee. This device storing the purple god tree marrow sure is durable. It hasn't broken even after hitting the walls so many times, I'll take it too. This is worth 1 billion mixed elements, I'll take it. Take. I'll take them all. The Mosha body metal fragment easily swept through the large amount of falling items, almost like cash from the sky. Luo Feng didn't care, collecting as much as he could. Purple Clock was collecting treasure from above too. The 2 of them, one from above while the other was below, were collecting treasures. Where's that chest? Purple Clock frowned as he rushed down. Did it hit the walls and fall somewhere along the side? This was a 6,000 kilometers long ditch. Naturally it connected to several pathways along the way in the tower. Hence, some may have bounced around and flew into the sides. I have to find that chest. All of the treasure together probably wouldn't even add up to that chest's worth. And that human. I wonder what treasure he has. Purple Clock thought. When Gold Kang exploded, large amounts of treasure flew in a mess against the silver wings. With the huge amount of items that were scattered around, Purple Clock had no way to distinguish which belonged to the human Luo Feng. I'll first look for the chest. That's the most valuable. As long as I can get it back, I'll find a way to open it. He began to search around, occasionally discovering other treasures along the way and keeping them. He only kept them in his space ring, as he has had many experiences in his life. He had experienced many things, he knew of special life forms, things that didn't seem like life forms from appearance, but once they were kept in a world ring, that would be trouble. Hence he kept all the valuable items in a space ring. No matter how small, it's still something. This is after all AG-grade metal, I'll take it. He collected little and big fragments of metal. The metal was very valuable too. Any single one was a normal undying's entire wealth, and if added together, they were worth over 100 million mixed elements. Where is that chest? Where is it? He looked about nervously, unable to find it. What's going on? Just where did it go? He was getting more anxious. That was the treasure he most valued from the tower, yet he couldn't find it. Shio. Purple Clock once again collected a metal fragment. Rumble, the space ring automatically rejected the metal fragment. What's going on? He was shocked, turning fast to look at the metal fragment. Ha ha ha. A silhouette appeared. It was the silver-winged Luofeng. The metal fragment landed in his hand as his world ring melded into his skin. The Mosha body had returned into the internal world. You. Purple Clock stared wide-eyed at the silhouette. Silver armor and wings, floating and flapping there, Luofeng smiled at him and said softly, "Thanks, Purple Clock." Asterisk. The three aboriginals in the control room had been watching everything from the start. Only when the huge explosion earlier destroyed the room and large amounts of the tower's construct, they lost vision for a while, but quickly regained sight. They clearly saw Purple Clock rushing down and collecting treasures. They also discovered the treasures below were disappearing mysteriously, and finally when Luofeng showed himself, they were all shocked. It's that human. He survived. Even that powerful invader has died, and yet the human survived. No wonder, the elder said. Some warriors of the four pinnacle races have many treasures and techniques. We cannot take our revenge yet. It sure is terrifying, that powerful invader, even with his strength, he still died. And that human seems to only have high emperor-level strength, but he still survived. Puri, La Demo and Men Bu couldn't help but feel shock. The greatest winner of this treasure hunt seemed to be that human. He's the real winner. The treasure in that room is in his hands. There are countless techniques in the inheritance room, but the most useful treasures for our race are all within that treasure room. The three of them were regretful. Especially the God Master Puri. When Chiokai Ka died, he naturally became the strongest leader of their race. He felt the pressure of leading the race and was responsible for their survival. He needed to live up to the elder before. That was why the pressure of the race's survival normally landed on the strongest warrior. I didn't expect that they'd manage to destroy the treasure room. Puri sighed. I wanted to wait till they teleported via God Country out and get the treasure. But now that the room is gone, the chest has become theirs too. Even the tower, having been pierced through 6,000 kilometers, the engravings about have been gravely damaged. It's only about 20% functional. The tower is now useless. Let's go back. He looked at the other two. The chest has been taken by the invaders. The valuable engravings left by the knights have been greatly damaged and are now extremely weak. The tower is useless. Men Bu and La Demo nodded. At least we got the inheritance. Puri sighed softly. At least with that, our race has a future. Earth recognized early on the importance of inheritance and culture. And to the trillions of races in the universe. Every race had countless years of techniques and training methods accumulated throughout the years. These were the most important things to a race. When all the top warriors of a race are killed, the surviving weak undyings would be the only ones remembering the techniques they had. These were insufficient to strengthening an entire race. Without the countless techniques, over the long passages of time, they could face destruction again. As for gaining strength, there was almost no way to do so. With the race's techniques, now they had hope. Tower, self-destruct. Puri ordered, you will leave with us. Yes, master. Within the vast God country, the three aboriginals appeared in mid-air. God master. Where's the elder? Why hasn't the elder returned? The other emperors asked. La Demo, Men Bu and Puri had grief in their eyes. Puri pointed at the space pathway. Crumble. The entire pathway instantly crumbled. The elder, he has fallen for the race. Puri said softly. The other emperors were stunned. But his death has given our race our inheritance. Puri howled. The countless techniques from before the Great Disaster, techniques suitable for our race people, we've retrieved them all. With this, our race will grow and will rise again. Rise. 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 The emperors all felt grief from the loss of their elder. At the same time, they also felt a strong burning faith and hope for their future. Their race would rise again. Puri destroyed the pathway and didn't care anymore about what happened within the destroyed tower. They were now focused on nurturing the later generations of Yang warriors. Within the tower, the skinny purple clock looked malevolent. A purple membrane was glowing on the surface of his body, and the pressure emanated throughout as he stared at the silhouette. Luo Feng naturally flapped his wings and smiled at him. In terms of build, Luo Feng was considered normal amongst the trillions of races. This purple clock emperor was 1.6 m tall and skinny. It made Luo Feng seem bigger. I underestimated you. Purple Clock said hoarsely. I didn't expect you to be so scheming too. Luo Feng said softly. The treasure was mine, but I didn't expect you to get it in the end. After Gold Kang's death you probably got a bunch of the treasure. Purple Clock gripped his scaled claws tightly. Obviously he was raging within, as he had thought he would get all the treasure. But now he had only gotten a fraction of it. Of course he would be angry. The treasure should be yours. Luo Feng mocked. There's Piercing Tiger, Night Emperor, Ice Blade and Gold Kang's treasure within too. This tower's treasure should be the Yang people's. Which of it is yours? I won the final battle, it should naturally be mine. He snorted coldly. Battle after battle with the warriors falling one after another, leaving only the two of us. Luo Feng laughed. During this battle, any survivor is a victor, and I'm the true victor. Scheming. Purple Clock snorted. He had burnt his undying body, and spent a flame god crystal to kill Gold Kang. Yet, most of the treasure ended up with Luo Feng. You are not too bad. First, you hide your strength even though you could deal with me. Yet you'd rather burn 3% of your undying body to hide your strength. Making that Gold Kang fight it out against the others, such as Night Emperor, Ice Blade, Piercing Tiger, and even up to the last moment, you still made me go all out. It's obvious that you made us use up Gold Kang's strength before finally using yours. Luo Feng said, I'm nowhere as scheming as you. The only thing is that I managed to hold out. Cackle. Purple Clock let out an ear-piercing laughter. Well said, I've outdone you, but your defense and techniques are still stronger than mine. However, the treasure will still be mine. His voice resounded within the ditch as he rushed straight at Luo Feng. The moment he moved, Luo Feng flapped his wings and unleashed strike travel. His speed accelerated as he rushed in an arc and fled through the pathways. You can't escape. Purple Clock had a clock silhouette about his body as he chased. The two of them got further and further. Even the Emperor Limit Gold Kang couldn't manage all the twists and turns in the tower that well, and had relied on other methods to slow down Luo Feng. As for the weaker Purple Clock, he had no way to stop Luo Feng. Luo Feng instantly got so far that he was out of sight. He was out of sight and couldn't be scanned. Bastard. Purple Clock raged, unhappy. I must kill you, I must. Luo Feng had gotten most of the treasure, and he knew about Purple Clock's great secret, that ancient clock. These 2 points had made Purple Clock want to kill him. I must use everything to kill him. A strong trump card is one's hidden ability. The moment the others know about my ancient clock, they will be prepared. And the super beings may make a move against me to take my treasure. I have to kill him as soon as possible. Chase. He flew as hard as he could. Even though he couldn't see Luo Feng, he could only use his max speed to fly out of the tower. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Luo Feng flew out of the core area, and through the living quarters, finally flying out of the entrance and out of the tower. I'm out. He looked about at the vast ground about, smiling. I was chased so much in there. I have no way to unleash my strength within the tower, it was tiring. The pathway was at most 1 kilometer wide. The golden horned beast would be squashed within. Luo Feng smiled and immediately swapped bodies. It took less than a second for a huge beast to appear in mid-air. It was over 100 kilometers long and completely golden, with thick limbs and gold wings. Even its eyes were dark gold in color. Howl! Hot air burst from its nostrils. I haven't truly fought since acquiring the king armor. Purple Clock will be the first one. The beast lay on the ground. It easily pushed it aside and lay there. To the beast, the thick layers of mud and gravel was like air resistance to a human on Earth. The beast stared at the entrance, and it was almost like a giant waiting for an ant to appear. This human is weak and cannot teleport. As long as he gets discovered outside the tower, he cannot escape. I can teleport to him. Human, you cannot escape. Purple Clock became a beam of light and flew out the entrance of the tower. The moment he was out, he madly unleashed his undying energy about, wanting to scan in all directions. He also relied on his scanners and released his law domain. In all, he was using everything to locate the human as quickly as possible. Ah! He was shocked to discover the huge beast before him. He looked up at it. The beast that was lying down was still over 80 kilometers tall. Their size difference was like a normal human looking up at a beast that was 10 times taller than the Himalayas. What a huge beast! Where did it come from? Demon Clan? Space Beast? Purple Clock looked on curiously. How? The beast had been waiting patiently. The moment Purple Clock appeared, he didn't even hesitate in waving his right claw. The claw was much thicker through the beast god transformation. It was one entire time bigger than a normal golden horned beast's claw. That huge claw was terrifying. One slash. The space around crumbled as the gravel and mud flew about. The beast and Purple Clock were thrown into a space slit. Rumble. One was patiently waiting, and the other was stunned and wanted to test the strength of this huge beast. All in all, the huge claw landed straight on Purple Clock. Rumble. Within the space slit, countless space flowed madly around Purple Clock as he steadied himself. Howl. The beast rushed over. What a terrifying beast. His actually pinnacle emperor. Purple Clock was shocked. The beast was huge and had the king armor on. With just a flap of its wings, its speed was several times that of his human body. Purple Clock controlled 3 fire clocks to defend himself only to have them slashed apart. Its speed is even more terrifying than that human. They had exchanged 2 blows, and Purple Clock was already knocked back. At my pinnacle form, this beast won't have any advantage. However, I lost great amounts of my undying energy in the tower. Hence, my strength isn't even half of its peak. He was angry and anxious. He really wanted to look for Luo Feng and not fight this beast. What's going on? Where did that human go? How did this beast suddenly appear? Right, this beast is very similar to the legendary silver-winged emperor, with its huge body, crown on its head, thick limbs, and the wings. The only difference is its color. It's completely gold. Changing color is easy, but this should be Silver Wing Emperor. Silver Wing is from the human camp. That Yang was a human too. This beast could be invited here by him. Bastard. It's the worst case scenario. The moment he exited the tower he called for help. This gold beast must be the first one, and others may arrive soon. Purple Clock had no choice but to decide to leave. He teleported and vanished. Only after he vanished did the beast vanish too, and the earth body appeared. Luo Feng nodded. Without a doubt, the beast has Emperor Pinnacle strength. Even though it's lacking in the law comprehension, its law fusion amplifies it 10 times. Along with the Pinnacle technique, it makes it have Pinnacle Emperor strength. But the weakness is still obvious. A true Pinnacle Emperor is either proficient in teleportation or time stop. They all have powerful law abilities. Luo Feng thought, looks like I still need to get stronger, I'm still lacking. The beast was very strong, but it didn't have teleportation or time stop. The two were absolute techniques for those either trained in space or the time laws. Luo Feng lacked a trump move. But he had the Showu wings and king armor for survival. He became a silver beam of light and swiftly left the space slit, returning to Yang-ji main continent and taking a ship, flying at sublight speed. In the distant air above an icy ground. Human. Human. The scaled and malevolent purple clock clenched his fists, as large amounts of energy causing explosions about that caused tornadoes of snow and ice over 10,000 kilometers around. Taking the treasure that belonged to me, and the treasure of the tower. And he knows my secret. I must definitely kill you, I must. His eyes gleamed madly as he pondered on a plan to deal with Luo Feng. A black disk flew above the main continent. Luo Feng lifted 2 cups of wine within the control room. Night, piercing tiger. Even though I wanted to save you too, I had no power. Luo Feng said softly. The evil of the universe caused 2 warriors to fall, and the strong survived. Let's hope that I'll see you again in the future. Tru Yang and the Primal Chaos City leader told me before, there are dangers all around. One always has to be cautious. Back then, the master of the Yunmo planet, Huyang Bo, had left one final saying to Barbata to tell me, for me to always have respect for the universe, and never get arrogant. Luo Feng sighed. This was formed from experience. I had thought, a pinnacle emperor would be absolutely safe on Yang-ji continent. I had thought, an emperor limit would be safe within the entire outer region wars. I had thought, having teleportation would make it almost impossible to die. But the fact of the matter is that within a tower here in the main continent, Night, Piercing Tiger, Ice Blade and Gold Kang, all fell. Even an emperor limit fell. Luo Feng sighed, and Gold Kang lost to one that was weaker than him. One cannot get careless at all. The results of the battle made him reflect a lot. The special environment of the tower made it so that no one could teleport or scan, and this naturally resulted in such a huge loss. If they fought in the air above Yang-ji continent, Gold Kang, who was proficient in time laws, he naturally wouldn't be able to stop those proficient in teleportation. Those that couldn't win would have long fled. Can't be helped. This is the universe, and just a small tower of the Yang-ji continent. Like countless other dangerous secret regions, there are too many unknown dangers. Luo Feng thought. No matter when, I must always be on alert, and never get arrogant. If I can get such a huge lucky encounter, other geniuses may have gotten them too, or even better. This battle ended with 4 emperors dying. What kind of tragedy was this? It made Luo Feng realize the importance of caution. When he got the Showu wings and king and general armor before, he had gotten confident and was proud. Just like how the city leader had regarded his encounters were simply average. The king and general armor only adds to his exterior strength. As his own strength rises, the usage would diminish. A call request. Luo Feng frowned. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Virtual universe, within a bar of Hong Alliance City, Luo Feng sat in the corner with another human. Tian Chen, why the rush to find me? He looked at this human before him. This was a friend he had made for many years. Tian Chen had grown up in the same time as Night Emperor. They were both core members of the huge Axe Dojo. The two of them had always been rivals, yet it was a deep and complicated relationship. Yang, Night is dead. Tian Chen's eyebrows were very long. It made him look very serious all the time. He exclaimed, before he died, he left me a message, saying that Gold Kang killed him. He died on Yang-ji main continent, and there are only 3 human emperors there including him. You are there too, and you are his good friend, right? Do you know anything? Right, he was killed by Gold Kang. Luo Feng exclaimed. He was forced by Gold Kang to self-destruct. Who is Gold Kang? Tian Chen asked. Even though Gold Kang was renowned on the main continent, he was after all from another race, a warrior from the automaton camp. Tian Chen naturally didn't know who he was. Even within the Hong Alliance's over 3 million emperors, he only knew a small group of them. Gold Kang is dead too. Luo Feng said. Tian Chen was shocked, nodding, life and death is part of the universe. Dying is inevitable. Come, let's drink. Okay. Luo Feng drank with him. Luo Feng didn't wish to speak too much about the matter. Him and Purple Clock were fated to settle one day, he didn't wish to drag Tian Chen into it. Whether it was him or Purple Clock, they both had huge amount of treasures on them with powerful survival tactics. And even though Purple Clock didn't get the chest of the tower, he still managed to get close to half of all the other treasure. The large amount of treasures represented huge wealth. Purple Clock was completely able to buy Flame God crystals and other treasures to strengthen himself. The next time we battle will be even more dangerous. He is after all an emperor that has killed an emperor limit. Luo Feng didn't dare get careless. He didn't know that including Gold Kang, Purple Clock had killed 2 emperor limits in total. I have to think of a way to settle him. Purple Clock thought of Luo Feng as an enemy and was working on a way to kill him. Naturally, Luo Feng was doing the same. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Within his world ring, the Mosha body and golden horned beast appeared. Tower chest. Luo Feng saw the item right in the middle, the chained chest. All of the other items added together will still be far from this chest. Luo Feng thought, just the protection on it alone cost tens of billions of mixed elements. The treasure within must be shocking as well. Let's try and see if the Mosha transformation can fake a Yang Ji person and open the chest. If it's not possible, then I'll have to take a trip to Primal Chaos City to see my teacher and ask for his help. This chained chest, Luo Feng thought that even his teacher Tru Yang would have difficulty opening. To the city leader, however, it would be extremely easy. Even though he did not want to bother his teacher, for the treasure within, he was willing to take the trip. His teacher would easily open it. Let's give it a shot. Change. Black-clothed Luo Feng became energy, and reformed into a 6-armed Yangji clansman. There were remains of corpses all about the tower before, and many of them were Sector Lord Pinnacle bones, their strongest part of their bodies were the bones. Like the Yun Mo Planet Master's disciple, even after tens of thousands of years, his gold bones were still perfect. Sector Lord Pinnacle, their bodies were strong, they were the strongest part of the body. The bones of a Sector Lord were closely compared to the body of an undying. Hence, in terms of decay, the bones could last a lot longer. Luo Feng had planned to deceive the chest into opening, hence he brought one of the bones back. Using its genetic makeup, he cloned the makeup of a Yang Ji clansman. Natural ability, cloning. The Mosha clansman changed its energy, and took on one of Chiao Kai Ka. After all, he had only seen one living Yang Ji clansman, Chiao Kai Ka. As for the fallen clansman about, he didn't have a guarantee as to whether a dead warrior's energy would work. Hence he picked the living one he saw. Talisman. Mosha Luo Feng flipped his hand to produce a talisman. It had his spirit imprint within. The 3 bodies all had the same imprint, naturally it recognized him as its master and melded with his body. Everything is ready. Genetics, energy, talisman, I have everything. I wonder if it'll work. Luo Feng walked to the chest. The 12 chains were still linked to the metal fragments and binding the chest shut. The chest had mysterious engravings all around. Luo Feng took a deep breath and extended his right hand to rub it. The chest's scanners activated. It must work, it must. Luo Feng anticipated within. Even though he could easily get the city leader to open it, within, he would rather not if he didn't need to. He wanted to rely on himself. Only if there was no other way, would he look for help to open it. I wonder how advanced this chest's scanning system is. Let's hope it works. The scanning system of the chest actually wasn't as advanced as Luo Feng had thought. It only scanned 2 things. One was the talisman and the other was the life energy. As to the genetic makeup, different races naturally had different makeups, but there were ways to deceive it. The life energy, however, was always different. Different forms of life had different energies, different races had completely different energies as well. Humans had different energies from each other. However, among the entire race, they were still considered similar. Humans, when compared to the bug race, however, had completely different energies, and this was almost impossible to imitate. Other than the very few special races that had special abilities, these natural abilities were things given to them by the universe. It was something that couldn't be trained. Life energy, confirmed. Talisman, confirmed. Pa. The lock on the chest began to loosen. Ha ha ha. Luo Feng, who was waiting anxiously, revealed a smile and flipped it open. Within the chest lay 3 world rings. With a scan of world energy, he found that the 3 rings didn't have a master. I'll look at them one by one. Luo Feng began to check the rings, sending world energy into the first one. This had a vast world within. There were metal mountains within and countless valuable liquid rivers. There were also many E-grade ships, along with countless items almost like locusts. All the goods were in huge numbers. Damn. This. He was shocked. He lifted the second ring and the third. Damn. This, I've struck it rich. A race's treasures, even when the Yangji race was still strong back then, this should still be a huge portion of it. Luo Feng was shocked from the amount of treasure. He had no way to know that back then, the knights knew that they wouldn't survive, hence they had placed all their wealth into the 100 true sacrificial towers. This was 1% of the entire race's wealth. The treasure left behind by the people of Yangji was shocking. My God. I've really struck it. Luo Feng blinked, and his body was trembling. I'm rich, really rich. It's no wonder Gold Kang and the others went all out for this. Even Night and Piercing Tiger were filled with hope. Looks like they've seen more than me and knew of how shocking the treasure is. Shocking. It's madness. Luo Feng muttered. The 3 rings all had different levels of treasures, of which there was a message in each of them. With a flip, 3 metal fragments appeared in his hand. On them was a blur of Yangji continent words. They explained the treasures within. Survivors, the rings have different leveled treasures for the Sector Lord, Domain Lord, Universe level, Star and Star Traveler level. Even though they are very cheap, they are huge in numbers, and are able to fill the entire world ring. In total, they add up to a huge amount of wealth. You all have to use them wisely. Considering the trillions of years needed to nurture our race, control the portions given out. Nurturing the later generations is the most important, because these weak, but growing clansmen are our future. These world rings represent our future. Clansmen, within this ring are treasures for undyings. Even though the numbers cannot compare to the ring before, it still adds up to a huge sum. Survival will be extremely hard after the tragedy. The undyings will have to open their own living spaces. They require enough treasures to explore the universe. Clansmen, this final ring holds a complete engraved weapon. This is our clan's highest achievement. Over countless years, the knights worked hard to construct this, and they only managed to construct not even 100 of them. And these weapons along with the other treasures from us knights have been separated into 100 towers. Some of the towers have the engraved weapons while others have knights' weapons. Even though these weapons have little usage for knights, they are still priced as high as other items used by knights, because they have great abilities. As for how to use them and what they can do, the weapons themselves have explanations on them. Even though there's only one engraved weapon here, its price far exceeds the other 2 rings. Luo Feng looked at the 3 fragments and was stunned. 3 world rings. One was for below undying, Sector Lord, Domain Lord etc., the weaker clansmen. One was for undyings. One was for the top of the race. This was the engraved weapon. Absurd. This engraved weapon is their highest achievement. Constructed over countless years, not even 100 of them have been made. Its price far exceeds the other 2 rings. Luo Feng retrieved the only weapon within the 3rd world ring with a thought. The weapon was small and delicate, similar to an armband, and its material was mainly black with some hazy star belt feeling. How do I use this? It has an explanation. Luo Feng pondered but couldn't understand it, sending some world energy into the armband to investigate the weapon. His world energy was imbued with his own spirit imprint as it activated the band. The weapon instantly recognized its owner. So convenient. Luo Feng easily got it to recognize him as its owner, as a message began to relay within his consciousness. The message explained the details about the weapon. It was called the Space Lock Band, and there were less than 100 in the universe. The most mysterious thing about the Yang Ji race was its Yang Ji engravings. It was something the ancestors chanced upon and comprehended a long time ago. It was a path suitable for the people of Yang Ji. The tower uses the most basic form of the engravings. The tower has countless engravings, the final ones have space abilities. However, as these were solid engravings, they required a carrier and had a huge limitation. It couldn't be used effectively in battle. Hence, the ancestors created the stronger void engravings. Every engraved weapon has complex void engravings within, and the moment its energy is triggered it would cause the engravings to scatter around space, spread over an area, controlling anything within. The optimum energy source is an undying crystal. It is best not to use one's own undying energy, as the weapon energy consumption is incredibly shocking. And once the source is depleted, if one uses his own undying energy, it would be burning his own undying body. That wouldn't be worth it at all. The universe has all sorts of undying crystals. The stronger the energy, the longer it can be used. The space lock band spreads its void engravings over a domain and the space ripples within are locked. It disables teleportation. Hence, this is a space warrior's nightmare. Of course, it would also affect the user, making both parties unable to teleport. Hence, this band is most suited for one proficient in time laws. To the time law warriors, who are able to unleash time stop and disabling their enemies from teleporting, their advantage would be huge. This band has void engravings within. Hence, as long as one brings it around, with the user as the source, it can unleash its space lockdown anywhere, and will be much more efficient than the towers. The tower's spaces have limits, it's very hard to bring it around with the user, and in battle, simply destroying the engravings in the towers would stop the effect. The void engravings, however, cannot be destroyed. The space lock area can be separated into 3 levels. First level, area with a diameter of 10,000 kilometers will be affected. Second level, diameter of 100,000 kilometers will be affected. Third level, diameter of 1 million kilometer will be affected. The larger the area, the more the energy usage will be. Only use it against a true enemy, and during a life or death crisis. Use it sparingly. This was the message, and it wished for the warriors of the race to rely on the engraved weapons to protect their people and rise up again. Damn. 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 Luo Feng felt his blood boil, as he was extremely exited, cursing. I've really made it. This is huge. Luo Feng reflected on the information again. He had truly gotten a huge reward from this encounter. When he first saw the engravings within the tower, he was already eyeing them. During the battles, he would get the advantage. However, once the battles grew more intense and the towers began to crumble, and with the limits of space within, Luo Feng could only ponder. Engraved weapon. Yang Ji engravings. This is the path the ancestors of the Yang Ji people happened to chance upon. Luo Feng exclaimed, impressive, there are solid and void engravings. The 3 world rings, especially the third one, truly made Luo Feng happy and surprised. Let's give it a shot. He couldn't bear to wait as he extended his left arm. The band stuck straight to his arm and melded with his skin. Simultaneously the black surface cracked open, revealing an energy input spot. It requires a high undying energy source. Luo Feng smiled. I still have 2 flame god crystals, and every one of it is worth 200 million points. Also, just one alone is akin to a low emperor self-destruct. Flame god crystal, thunder god crystals, etc. They were condensed undying energy, which were able to be used as energy sources or bombs. In truth, back when the automatons designed them, they were made to give large amounts of pure energy. Later on, they were discovered to be good in battle too, especially the flame god crystal. It became a bomb for many warriors. Luo Feng flipped his hand and put the crystal into the input, taking up only a third of the space. The input immediately sealed up and the energy poured in. The surface sealed up. The entire band was now solid. Ha ha. With a thought, his silver armor covered the band and protected the band well. Actually, the construction material of this band was incredibly expensive, and the chain chest was even more solid, where even knights would find it hard to destroy it. Space lock. The band had long recognized him as its owner, he could easily trigger it. Smallest area, diameter of 10,000 kilometers, space lock. Luo Feng easily triggered it. With the 200 million points flame god crystal within, it had sufficient energy to trigger. Weng, with Luo Feng's arm as the core, a formless energy instantly spread in all directions. It was a ripple similar to that of space energy. Diameter of 10,000 kilometers. The skies, mountains, grass and mud below, had translucent engravings appear throughout. These void engravings of the Yang-Ji appeared occasionally, even with a punch, it hit nothing, because there was no way to destroy these void engravings. One had to destroy the armband to destroy the engravings. Ha ha. Luo Feng smiled with glee, surveying his surroundings and looking up and down. It was real. And with the Mosha body's sense of space, it could clearly feel the universe space within the 10 kilometers area locked down, without a single ripple of space, one couldn't teleport at all. This video will end here.